Let's fill in one of the gaps of one of my biggest retcons. Can it justify itself within the world of What If Raditz? Hey folks, MasakoX here. Now these days, I'm usually quite satisfied when it comes to the likes of my what ifs, and how they stack up in terms of offering something new, whilst remaining true to the source material of Dragon Ball that we are basing our notions from. Of course, I'm pretty sure that that will change in a few years' time when I will look back on these videos with my children and go, what was I thinking? I'm doing that already with some things like the Goku Black arc of the What If Raditz Turned Good saga. In that timeline, I woefully missed out on the chance to explore a world of the future in that timeline. Instead, I just limited myself to the tried and tested multiverse model of having the same future Trunks show up with minimal, if none, modifications. Well, this series fixes it, and will now be canon in that story, all thanks to exploring the history of Ranch. Thanks to a lot of people getting quite saddened with this omission previously, and my reluctance to do anything about it for years, I've now been able to do something that might be able to stand out more, and use the character of Ranch more aptly, have Raditz in it because everybody likes Raditz here on this channel, and more suitably whilst also giving some more interesting stuff for future Trunks. Not to worry, no awkward love triangle nonsense between him, Ranch and Mai like so many people want and expect. Dragon Ball really isn't the place for that sort of thing anyway. I mean, come on, Toriyama can't even get a typical romantic relationship down right, so why stretch it further to love triangles? No, let Rumiko Takahashi take care of that one. In the last part, we finally saw Ranch get out of her long-term funk at the loss of her two children, Balsa and Greta, at the hands of Goku Black, in a very dark and twisted manner that a lot of you out there were very shook by in the comments. Left injured, emaciated, and emotionally broken, Ranch had taken to bed and not really talked to anyone, not even her partner. The only thing that could shake her out of her self-imposed destruction here was a trip to the past, something that Trunks had promised her long ago but had never come about. That was the only thing that could make her snap out of it. In that past, Ranch was able to recover and finally get to meet herself in the past. Much like how present Trunks boosted up future Trunks in the original series and anime, the two Ranches spent time together, both out in the city just chilling out, and in the Room of Spirit and Time, mostly, in order to get future Ranch not only healthy again, but also be able to regain her self-worth and fight for the future once more. How is this all going to go and tie into the stuff I laid out in part 10 of Raditz Turning Good? Well, you can go back and compare. Let's bring this plot thread back into the main one, shall we? And I'm not kidding, you could watch this part and then go straight into halfway of part 10. I mean, I might actually include this in the full video, but it's gonna be 6 hours long, isn't it? Now fully recovered and back to full strength, future Ranch and Trunks were able to reconcile their relationship and figure out a plan as to how to get back at Goku Black. Them, of course, unaware of the additional backup of Zamasu. Yet. However, their planning was cut short when an unexpected item was in their bagging area. Goku Black, using a time ring, had made his introduction into the past, keen to find out what had happened to Ranch. Oh, Ranch, come out, come out. I've been missing basking in your self-pit. What? What is this? The gang had congregated, and Goku Black gazed down at future Ranch, not only standing up, but also back to full health, revitalized. This was not what the Fiend wanted to see. He had held off further destruction of Earth simply because Ranch had been broken by him personally and so completely. But now she was fully restored. He clenched his fist. You're supposed to be damaged beyond repair! Ranch was now the one wallowing in Goku Black's emotional state. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Black. Oh wait, no, I'm not sorry. Sure, you tore apart my family beyond recognition. But all I've been doing is feeding your overly lumbering ego. I realize that. Well, I hate to say this, but you're cut off. Permanently. You won't be getting any of that from me anymore. She was the one in control now, and this got Black extremely angry. He had grown so cushy from her misery that to suddenly have that taken away from him? Oh, he lunged forward, screaming with frustration. But he didn't even notice the fact that the likes of 3 big burly Saiyans descend upon him, including Trunks obviously, with Raditz leading the charge. I won't let you anywhere near my daughter! You've tormented her long enough! Time for a little payback, right? Future Ranch blushed a little bit. It was nice to hear her father's voice, even though it wasn't exactly the same version of Raditz. Alright, she'll take it. Goku Black was looking wild with anger, but tried to keep his voice as stable as possible. No matter. You mortals are all the same. Raditz powered up to Super Saiyan 2, and the fight between himself and Goku Black began. Unlike Goku, who was dawdling, not taking this fight seriously, Raditz was. He was not holding back. This fight was showing clearly that Goku Black was not as strong as he had expected to be. He didn't care though. He was going to make this fool suffer for all that he had done. Goku Black would be the one left bedridden here after many months of pain for Ranch. Black had little answer to this and was left bowled away by this. His trip to the past, merely acting as like a victory lap, rubbing Ranch's face in his dominance, had gone completely and utterly south. After a few minutes, Black was injured far more than in the original. Not just like a, oh no, my side, as in like, yeah, he's barely standing. He's on the verge of passing out. Raditz decided to finish this off in his blue power, but before he could do so and power up, a weird temporal anomaly dragged Goku Black out of the timeline and back to the future. Raditz cursed for not doing more sooner, but Ranch was very impressed by his power, and it was great to see Black suffering like that. He'll be back though, stronger than ever, I'll bet. His ki is so strange, it feels like Goku's, but yet it's not. Whis piped up and echoed those sentiments, and that leads to the beginnings of the investigations of the Zamasu in this timeline, but we're keeping that to the original Raditz Turned Good timeline, not important here. Trunks and Ranch knew they had to capitalize on this quickly. Bulma had been able to, in all this time while Ranch was training with present Ranch, filling up the fuel tanks from half to full so that the time machine could escape to the past if they needed to, if things got troublesome. Raditz then elected to go into the future with them, keen to see how it had turned out. No offense, Raditz, but, said a nervous Trunks, 3 people in the time machine? And you especially? It might be a little cramped for you. Raditz beat his chest. Ha! Nonsense! My hair is very versatile, you know. It can squish in enough to act as cushioning, in fact. It'll be fine. It won't be a long trip besides anyway. Ranch and Trunks look to each other and nod. Perhaps it might be worth a shot. When they get there, they can't sense Goku Black in the city, but Raditz can sense something several miles away in what looks like some kind of forested area. Masking their ki as best they can, they pocket the time machine and fly over to where the energy is coming from. When they find it, they are bemused to see a nice little log cabin just perfectly resting nearby the woods. Raditz was floored. Seriously? This being of galactic destruction lives in a little hut like this? How ridiculous. Trunks, though, was serious. That's their hideout, all right. Black's not fully healed yet. At least I can tell. Let's rush him while we have the chance. Ranch then motioned for her to do it. He's been after me for the longest time, Trunks. If he wants me, he can have me. And if he's still badly injured, I want to be the one to kill him. With that, she flew over to the cabin and entered. The door was open, and Ranch looked at the interior. It was very plain, not much stuff inside. The only items of note here were some elegant pieces of crockery, some dinnerware, and a pot of tea, still steaming, and a couch. That was it. This wasn't exactly extravagant or what she expected. A bedroom door, though, was ajar on the other side of the room, and in there, she could hear coughing, spluttering, and cursing. Black was in there, and having a bad time of a dream. She entered the room and saw Black sleeping, but in a cold sweat. She walked up to the bed and raised her hand up, ready to blast him away. But he was just lying there, vulnerable, completely helpless. Screw on her! He'd done that long ago anyway. She'd been dreaming about blowing Black away in an instant. She wanted this. But then suddenly, Black opened his eyes and grinned. Then a voice emanated from behind. I wouldn't do that if I were you, mortal. She turned around and a green man with pointy ears met her view. Zamasu. I knew you would do this, said Zamasu. Mortals are so predictable. Your emotions get the better of you. I must admit, my friend here is quite injured. At death's door, I imagine, if not treated properly. I would be mad if it were any other person here getting in the way, but you... Oh, you've been the apple of my friend's eye for quite some time. Your friend took everything from me, and my family, and in the coldest and most heinous way imaginable. Oh, that! Oh, your children! Oh, he did enjoy that. I can see why now. Snuffing out mortals before they can wreak their havoc upon the universe at their most infantile? Oh, fantastic. Black laughed softly in bed, still hurt. I'd do it again if I could. My sole goal in life now is to make you and Trunks suffer. All that's left in this universe is this world. So, I'm more than happy to take my time for you. Ranch had had enough. She powered up to Super Saiyan 2 and blasted a hole right through Zamasu's chest. Almost like he just took it. But the hole repaired itself almost as quickly as it had been made. Oh, I love this part. He grabbed Ranch's wrist and pulled her up close. If you thought Black was trouble, you've not seen anything yet. I am your worst nightmare. Black is a pussycat compared to me. The things I've seen, the things I've done, all part of my plan to rid this realm of mortals. Ranch spat in his eye and punched Zamasu in the gut with her free hand. This was enough to get her out of the way, and then, sensing trouble, Raditz and Trunks stepped in to roll in and help. The three Saiyans fought Zamasu for as long as possible. They were able to tire him out and injure him many times, but it didn't matter. He kept on regenerating thanks to his immortality. He would relish in telling them more and more about his plan, knowing that they would get frustrated by the second thanks to his powers. With Goku Black injured still, he didn't have Rose to count on, but he didn't care right now. He was only keen to rub salt into Ranch's wounds. But then, she remembered something. Black had said something crucial. Wait, I have one question before you kill us. A question? Well, that's a change of pace. It's better than hearing you grunt and moan again whilst trying to kill me. All right, I'll humor you. One question. Ranch then asked Zamasu, a crucial one, about the plan, and that Black said that they were done, and that this planet was the last one left before the plan was enacted. Yes, that's correct. What's your point? Ranch then motioned for Trunks to hand over the time machine capsule, and he did without question. Goku in a sense of being anyone? Well, you don't have anything left here. Why not go to another timeline and do it all over again? Surely it might be more fun. You must be bored here with so little left to do. Why settle for one timeline when you can perhaps do it in many? Zamasu thought about this and liked the idea. Mortals in other timelines. Of course. If I give you this time machine, Trunks and Raditz then exclaimed protestations, but Ranch ignored them. You can start anew. Truly expunge mortals from other dimensions. Not just this one. This is a dead husk of a realm. Where's the fun in that? Zamasu was getting more interested by the second. Oh ho ho ho! Ranch assessed correctly that Zamasu was just like Black. Ego center. She threw the capsule onto the ground and out popped a time machine. All you gotta do is push the big red button in there and away you go. Plenty of fuel to bring you back if you get homesick. Zamasu looked at her suspiciously, but then entered the time machine and spotted the red button. Correct. Do not think of this as me letting you go. I'll be back to finish you off. And when Black is back to full health, you will see the full wrath of my might. Zamasu then pressed the button, and the time machine disappeared from view. Raditz couldn't hold his tongue any longer. He had to say something. That was my ride home! What have you done? Now he's going to do the same to other worlds that he had done here! And I'm stuck here! Trunks thought for a second, and then his face dropped. Ranch, did you mean that button? Ranch then looked with a cheesy grin. Oh, yeah. The emergency escape button. Raditz looked bemused. I don't follow. What does that button do? It's a means to get out of a timeline as quickly as possible. Then when you're in the timeline, you can just program a new destination there and then. But, oh, I didn't tell Zamasu that part. He doesn't know how to work the thing. Exactly. Of course. And he'll get frustrated and try to escape thinking his immortality will protect him. But if Mom's predictions were accurate... They then looked up to the night sky. In the time stream, Zamasu was waiting for the time machine to stop off at another timeline. But it didn't. Sure enough, his patience wore thin, and he tried to press all of the buttons and was met only with error sirens and nasty buzzers. Then a ticking. It was the failsafe. A countdown appeared on the console, and Zamasu cursed. Those mortals have tricked him. Oh, he'd get back at them. He didn't care though. He was immortal. Any puny explosion would say, the machine exploded and immediately Zamasu felt time itself pulling himself apart into spaghetti. The vermicelli that was once an immortal Kai could barely comprehend the pain of being contorted by time itself and its forces, and within a few seconds, he had been stretched out so far across time and space, across so much of history, that his mind was too far gone, and thusly, he and his identity were no more. Sure, he was immortal, but that only meant he didn't die instantly when the time machine exploded. He had a few seconds of utter torture going for him. Maybe it was for the best he wasn't immortal. Assuming the best, the trio looked down at Black, who had staggered to the door of the cabin looking for his compatriot, but was only met by Ranch. Sorry, buddy. Your friend bounced. Where did he go? Oh, I'll tell you. Some other time. Ranch then powered up to Super Saiyan 2 and began to beat down the wounded Black even further. He hadn't had the time to recover at all, and so he was now even more injured than ever. Thanks to Raditz, of course. In his last moments, the three Saiyans looked down on him and in unison blasted him into oblivion. Black was no more. In the aftermath, Ranch had never felt so overjoyed. Well, except for the time when her kids were born, obviously. Raditz was amazed by the power on display here from his future daughter, and was getting more and more thrilled to see them overcome everything here, and then maybe his own Ranch would have Trunks. Oh, Trunks was a keeper. You picked a good one in Ranch, kiddo! I only hope Trunks makes just as good a decision as you, and that Vegeta doesn't try to put a stop to it. The two future people laughed, but then the reality set in. Oh, the time machine was gone. They didn't have the means to repair it, and, oh, okay. But then suddenly, they could send somebody back in West City. Goku. They rushed back to see what it was. Was it Black resurrected? No, it was the present Goku with Bulma, and a mossy time machine. What the? My time machine! Shouted Trunks. Bulma looked quite pleased with herself. I knew that I had this weird feeling in the back of my head about this. It was just knocking around from the time of Cell. Turns out I was right. Thought we could come and give you a hand if you needed it. Goku gave a thumbs up and was ready to help out, but then found out his help wasn't needed. He looked a little downbeat, sure, but he was happy to see no more trouble to be had in the future. Raditz hugged his brother, pleased to see him, and told them everything that had happened. Once everything had been cleared up, Raditz, Goku and Bulma made their way back to the past, but not before telling Ranch and Trunks to get fixing their future as best they can. They vowed to do so, and told the present people to do their own bit to make sure the present's okay, and make sure that time stayed stable and safe. With that, the trio from the past then headed home, and we can go back to the rest of Part 10 in the original What If timeline of Raditz. You know, the bit with Raditz and Vegeta fighting on the beach, Super Saiyan 4 and all that. And that's where we end things. So what do you folks think? Is this retcon a better version of what had happened originally? Would you like maybe a bonus epilogue for the future as some kind of YouTube short or a very quick video? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!